It is one hot one today, so what I'm doing is restringing the head of the trimmer. We haven't done any trimming yet. Look at that. This stuff is growing out of control. We went away for 6 days, and then we come back. And we were away for 3 or 4 days a couple of weeks ago. Well, that just means everything here is out of control. So, and my wife bought this cheap ass 0.95 Benchmark. Don't buy cheap trimmer string. She might have bought this at $1 at the garage sale or something. $12. 12 is a ripoff. I don't even think that's a pound. I used to buy 5-pound rolls, and we had less grass to cut. I did commercial grass cutting for like 25-30 years. So then I was buying 3-pound rolls. And finally, after, I think it's been 10 or 15 years since I bought a 3-pound roll. 10 years probably. So obviously I'm not cutting near as much grass. We used to go through a 5-pound roll every summer. I don't think a 5-pound roll was enough. So I'd buy 2 in the spring, and the second roll would get us through partway through the next summer. So probably 6 or 7 pounds of stringer. And the stuff we had was just about, you cannot buy the really, really good stuff, because what happens, it destroys your plastic head. If they made these out of aluminum, wouldn't that be awesome? They would never sell another one again, but they make them out of cheap plastic, and they just wear out. So if they were made of aluminum, they'd probably be $300. It'd be worth more than the trimmer part itself. So, but if you buy the medium string, seems to work the best. I think that's the best advice I could give anybody, because it does break. The spring breaks when you hit something like a chain link fence or corner of a concrete building or something. Instead of pulling so hard that it rips the eyelet out, it'll rip these metal eyelets out. This is just like a cheap, I call it a cheap, but it's not cheap. It's a Milwaukee fuel trimmer, because you don't have any gas to deal with. You don't have to start it. It's got a lot of torque. It works really well, actually. But for around your house, that's all you need. The gas trimmers I have, slowly, all the gas tanks have just breached and cracked and fell apart, and the fuel tank is worth, 2 fuel tanks is worth what it cost for this whole trimmer. So I thought, you know what? It's the ethanol. That's what it is. The plastic cannot handle the ethanol, and it should be drained every fall and then flushed out, maybe. It just destroys plastic. So now I tried buying this thing. Seems to be the answer. I don't have to start it for my wife, and there's no choking, there's no flooding, there's no fuel mixing, there's no, it doesn't stink, you don't have to breathe exhaust fumes. A lot of positives, but I'm not a big fan of battery powered stuff, except for like power tools and things like that. But I won't be buying an electric car anytime soon, or electric lawnmower, push mower, or riding tractor or something. No, they're going to stick with gas and diesel. So we're gonna wrap this. What I do is take the whole head apart pretty well every time you got to restring this thing. It's designed to do it without taking the head apart, but if you don't take the head apart, you can't get dirt out. And what happens, it won't work right if it's full of dirt in there. And this thing's right down in the dirt, so it does work well if there's no dirt in it. But the only way to get the dirt out is take it apart. So that's what I do. I just take it apart. I put the string right through the holes, and then what you're supposed to do is just line up the red lines here with the holes, and you shove your string through. You might be able to do that once or twice maybe, and then the third time you got to take it apart and clean it. Use a paintbrush or toothbrush or something. Get in there and clean it all out. Or best thing is the compressor. That little handheld blower will work, but it doesn't have enough blowing power to get stuck dirt in out of the cracks and stuff. So best thing is a compressor, actually. But not everyone has access to the compressor. So my videos, there's too much talking, so we're just gonna, you need 2 hands for this, but there's a way to do it. So you can see the string going in. You don't want to turn this part. You want to keep this still, turn this part, because that's the spool, and then the string won't get tangled. If you rotate this, ends up this stuff gets all twisted around, and since they went to this style of a head, it's much easier to do this. I think it's a big improvement on the early models of string trimmer heads. And then you got your blade that cuts it to length right there. So I don't think the string's going to work very well. It's the first time I use it. Always have used commercial type of string. I can't remember what size. Don't remember for the life of me what size. Oh, you don't want to go too far. So it's why it's uneven. I don't know. I had it right even when I started, but see, this side's got 2 feet, and this side here's just going a little bit more. Yeah, we'll cut this off, and we're good to go. This says it's 0.95. I'll let you know what I think of this. Benchmark. Commercial. Oh, it says commercial. Yeah. It does have that twist on it, so it actually, they say that works better, that little twist. I don't find any difference myself. Except for I did buy some of this green square stuff, and I mean, it was freaking vicious. It would rip your skin right off. But like I said, it was too tough, and it would destroy the head. Because the guys that you have working for you don't care about, you know, what they do is run this on concrete and pavement, and it burns all the plastic off. So you can touch the grass with this, but don't touch stone dust, don't touch concrete. You know, you push it right down on concrete and rev it up, it's just going to rip all this plastic right off here. And then once you're through, it starts to get thin, then you got to buy a new head. So I bet you this head's $50. You don't want to be buying a new head every, 6 months, or one's good for, well, you should be able to get 4 or 5 years out of one of these heads. Commercial mowing, maybe less than that, maybe 2.5, 3 years. But if you're going through a head every halfway through the summer, you got a guy that doesn't know how to operate this thing. And every guy I've ever had work for me sits there and just pulls the trigger and does this all day long. You don't do that. You put the power when you need it. You let go when you don't need it. But you don't drive a car like that, pumping the gas pedal all the way down the road. You don't do that. Motorcycle, you don't rev it up and let go of the throttle steady every 3 times a second. So this electric one, this is kind of the same thing. Give it a little throttle, and then lay off when you don't need it. Actually, it stops. It turns off when you don't need it. So it's actually a really good design. You're only using power when you need it. I always have one of these multi-tools, or a knife or something, or a pair of hand pruners will work fine cutting this stuff. Hand pruners are really good to have, because if you have a weed that's, this time of year the weeds are pretty soft, but later on, by the end of August, they start to turn into like a wood, and it's very hard on your trimmer head, because it'll wrap around the stalk of the weed, and it will, like I said, pull so hard that it'll the friction of this string up against the other string in the spool will melt, because it's rubbing like 3 times a second, and it'll rub and create friction and heat, and then they stick together, and then you got to take the head apart and break that part, because it will not come out anymore after that. So I've seen it all. I've seen all of that. I think we probably had over 100 employees, and I probably can tell you less than a dozen, probably more like 4 or 5 actually knew how to do all of what I do with the trimmer, to operate it properly, is what I'm saying. And the rest of them were useless. What you needed was 5 trimmers for each employee, and they just grab another one until they're all not working anymore, and then by then you should be able to not be done your day and go home. So yeah, even my father could not figure out how to string, mix gas. Well, this is an electric one, but we never had electric before. So anyway, I'm rambling, but you get the idea. That's what I got to say today. This is a split shaft. I like these split shafts. So you can buy different attachments for this Milwaukee. You can buy a chainsaw attachment, you can buy an extension, and you can buy a hedge trimmer. And there's probably, I think there's a blower too, but I think that's kind of useless. I would not want a blower attachment for this. I would just have a handheld blower. So there'll probably be other attachments you can get for this too. Might be an edger, which I don't really need or want. If someone gave it to me, I'd probably sell it, but anyway. There we go. So it's got this little battery indicator. Full. I think it's just a really nice setup. Not too heavy. You know, the gas ones, and they get big up in the 35, 40 cc. They get pretty heavy. So this one's about half the weight of one of those. And I think it got about, this is a 6 amp hour battery, but it came with a 9 amp hour. And it lasts a good long time. Like, you can go through some thick grass. I haven't used it enough to really know how long this will go. It's been a year now since I've used it. Well, a year. It's been 10 months. So I'll let you know at the end of the summer. I'll put out another video and let you know my second summer with this machine. So I think it's really nice. I think it does come with a shoulder strap. I don't know where it attaches, though. Maybe it doesn't. I don't see a place for it to attach. So no, I don't know if it comes with a shoulder strap. Yeah, it says place handle here. I moved it down a little lower. I find that the further out this is, the better. So you're supposed to have it up against this arrow, I guess. Okay, so that's all I got to say. And then I think it takes about an hour or a bit less to charge one of these batteries. So if you have 2 batteries, you can go for a good long time. You could probably trim all day. Normally what I would do is I'd have a little piece of wire or something, and I would twist a couple of these rolls, cut a couple of these about 12, 15, 16 feet maybe, and have 2 with you, so you don't have to go back. And then you just untwist your wire, pull another string off, put it in the head, and keep going. You don't have to go back to the truck. That was the worst thing about having employees, is they would always find some reason to go back to the truck. Because then you're just walking, you're not working. You're not having to expose yourself to this dust and dirt, rocks hitting you in the face, and exhaust fumes. And I'm talking about gas ones again. But I would tell them, if you ever go back to the truck to get some more string, fill up with gas. And the same if you go back for gas, grab a few more rolls of string. But they didn't care one bit. They would deliberately not do that. So they would have a reason to go back to the truck. But anyway, I think Milwaukee's got it all figured out. They got a good line of tools. I don't think they're any better or worse than anything else out there. Well, they're definitely better than some of the no-name brand China stuff. But they're not overpriced, I don't think, for what you're getting. And they work pretty good. I'm not saying Makita and DeWalt are worse. I'm just saying you've got a pretty good wide range of tools you can select from with Milwaukee, and they're the leader right now. It's kind of like FedEx 20 years ago. FedEx was the leader. So, and the world's changed so much, so okay, let's go do some trimming.